ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
A dangerous heat wave is moving into San Diego County this weekend, raising our threat of wildfires and power outages, while officials warn of holiday beach crowds amid the pandemic. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. Businesses at our beaches are bracing for a busy next few days. We have team coverage, and we begin with ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz.
Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day are the three busiest weekends of the year for restaurants on the boardwalk. But this year might be different for Belmont Park-owned Draft Beach House and Cannonball in Mission Beach.
In some venues, we're seeing the same numbers as last year. In other venues, we're seeing 60% less, 30% less, 15% less. And
Daniela Bauer says being able to reopen indoor dining this week has been a big help.
Inviting people back inside to watch sports, to have a beer, and to be on the boardwalk, I think that's huge. The biggest impact for us recently.
Bauer says they're taking every precaution and adhering to new guidelines. That includes capacity limits and taking names and numbers of each guest.
Each thing does make it a little bit more complex to be able to run our restaurants right now, but it's definitely, we're just happy to be able to reopen like our indoor dining this week and to be moving forward in that process.
For people heading to a beach or a barbecue, health officials are warning to not let your guard down. Dr. Stephanie Strathdy with UCSD says people visiting from out of town is a major concern.
We don't live in a bubble in San Diego. We have a lot of people from neighboring cities with higher prevalence of COVID-19 than we have, and neighboring states like Arizona.
She stresses the same rules we've been following still apply.
It's very important to maintain social distancing and wear masks because we know now that this virus is aerosolized, which means that it can hang in the air for, not just minutes, but hours.
Councilwoman Jennifer Campbell's office says city staff will be doing extra patrols to keep people safe through the weekend. Jennifer De La Cruz, ABC 10 News.
It's already starting to warm up outside, and ABC 10 News meteorologist Angelica Campos is tracking the heat and the possible record-breaking temperatures that are headed our way. Angelica?
That's right, Kim. Many places breaking records today, and I'm putting together a list of it. But first, I'm going to show you what is happening. What has happened since yesterday? The temperatures went up about 3 degrees or so near the coast, inland communities, adding another 5 to 7 degrees. That, of course, has sent temperatures well into the 90s today. 95 degrees right now in Ramona, 93 in Escondido, 91 in Fallbrook, also 90s in Jamul. At this hour, upper 70s closer to downtown and also near the coast. The marine layer was pretty thick this morning and brought foggy conditions, but it kept the morning cool. And also, it was pretty deserted out there at the beach this morning. A red flag warning goes into effect tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. It is going to become windy, very dry, and as temperatures rise, we have that triple threat that we typically warn everyone about in a fire danger situation. So we'll break it all down. I'll show you what to expect and how hot it's going to be for tomorrow. I'll have a list of the records, much more coming up.
All right, thanks, Angelica. There's growing concern about the threat of fires and power outages during this heat wave. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner shows us how people across San Diego County are preparing.
Inland businesses are gearing up for this excessive heat. The holiday weekend is also bringing a serious risk of fire danger and a statewide flex alert to ease the strain on the power grid. Climbing temperatures and a threat of rolling blackouts. If power has to be cut this weekend, SDG&E says they'll spread it across the county, so no one area is affected more than another. But meteorologists are reporting that this heat wave is much shorter and geographically smaller than the last heat wave. That means the state won't be competing for energy from surrounding states, so the possibility of rolling blackouts is less likely. Still, hot weather is sending inland businesses into overdrive.
These are called mini splits or ductless air conditioners.
Kevin Burns, president of El Cajon's Bob Jensen Air Conditioning and Heating, says as the weather's been getting warmer, his techs have been running at least 20 service calls a day.
It's been extremely busy. The phone rings pretty constantly. Lots of people without heating or air conditioning or in need of an upgrade to their systems.
I could show you my gelato kitchen and see if someone's making something fun right now.
Suzanne Schaefer is the owner of Esco Gelato in Escondido, which could see triple digits.
This weekend, since we know it's going to be so hot, we're focusing on the sorbets that are really just what you want when it's super hot.
Schaefer welcomes the business and expects to serve hundreds of customers this weekend alone. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
You can track the heat wave and threat of wildfires this weekend by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
And as we enter the holiday weekend, the CDC is sharing another grim prediction. The health agency says we will likely see another 30,000 COVID deaths by the end of the month. This comes as health experts debate whether we'll have a vaccine in time for the November elections. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the lead in the nation's fight against the coronavirus, says it's unlikely but possible. Regardless, the U.S. Surgeon General is asking governors to prepare.
It's not just about having a vaccine that is safe and effective, it's about being ready to distribute it. Because what I would hate is for us to have a vaccine, but it still not get to the people who most need it.
The top advisor of Operation Warp Speed says whenever a vaccine is ready, they'll have enough to vaccinate up to 25 million Americans. And this afternoon, San Diego State officials announced the number of COVID cases nearly tripled to 180 after reporting 64 cases just a few days ago. As ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen tells us, the school is looking into more than a dozen clusters.
For the first time in 25 years,
I'm really concerned.
Susan Hobbs Tatum is wary of living blocks from the SDSU campus.
This started as soon as students began to move back in, which was the beginning of August.
She's talking about scenes like this playing out in a front yard about a week ago. Neighbors describing parties day and night, weekdays and weekends.
We've seen students out in large mass gatherings at parties, no masks, no social distancing, walking in large groups, all, going from house to house.
In the wake of those scenes, troubling new numbers from the school. Officials revealing 180 confirmed and probable cases since August 24th. Earlier this week, an announcement of the first 64 cases prompted the school to put a pause on in-person instruction for the next month. The school says the county is looking into some 14 different clusters of cases, most of them off campus and involving sororities and fraternities. Meanwhile, the school says they've hired private security to patrol campus and surrounding neighborhoods to make sure students are following COVID policies on weekdays and weekends.
Beginning tomorrow through Labor Day weekend, we're also adding SDSU red and black shuttle patrols to help step up monitoring in the college area as well.
Any student or organization caught ignoring the rules could face discipline.
These can range from a suspension and, in extreme cases, expulsion.
The school says it sent out 457 notices to students and groups for possible violations. Amid those notices and the extra patrols,
And that has made a difference.
Hobbs Tatum says it has been more quiet, but with the school year just getting started, her unease remains. Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
School officials say nearly 300 of the disciplinary cases have been concluded. So far, no suspensions or expulsions have been handed down, but they say it is a possibility for some of the pending cases. Now to the latest numbers of coronavirus in San Diego County. Today, the county reported 453 new cases. That brings our total to 39,899. There was one new death reported. That brings our total to 701.
Your voice, your vote. A group of Uber and Lyft drivers hit San Diego roads today to tell everyone to vote no on Proposition 22. The ballot measure would make rideshare companies exempt from a new law that classifies gig workers as employees. ABC 10 News reporter Jared Aarons has more.
The rideshare lot at Lindbergh Field is pretty much ground zero for the debate between AB 5 and Prop 22. Friday morning, the people who support AB 5 did a car caravan from here to Lyft headquarters, telling everyone they passed to vote no on 22.
Awesome, Mike.
With signs, stickers, and car horns, drivers against Prop 22 hit the road with a message.
When you work with Uber and Lyft, what have they done for drivers over the years?
Tanya Edisval, who's been a driver for 4 years, says she's seen her pay cut, her hours rise, and conditions worsen. That's why she supports AB 5 and opposes Prop 22.
They have had years to abide by the law. This isn't something new. You know, that you have to pay your workers a minimum wage isn't new. that you have to have a certain amount of benefits for people isn't anything new.
AB 5 turns a 2018 state Supreme Court employment decision into law, giving gig workers more protection. Prop 22 would make rideshare and delivery companies exempt from that law, but add some limited wage protection and health subsidies. Edisval and her supporters say it's not enough, and the fact that Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Postmates have donated $110 million to get Prop 22 to pass proves that money isn't the issue.
It strips us of all our rights. We're talking UI, we're talking health benefits, we're talking sick days, family leave. If they win Proposition 22, all those things go out the window.
Not every driver agrees. 10 News spoke to some who say AB 5 could take away their independence and ability to be their own boss. In August, Uber and Lyft threatened to shut down in California if a court didn't grant an injunction against AB 5 until the November election. That court battle is still going on, with the companies saying if Prop 22 fails, they'll have to shut down for a little while to readjust their businesses to new rules. Edisval calls that a scare tactic to voters.
So it's not just about threatening the drivers anymore, they're actually threatening the passengers by saying that if we have to pay our drivers a fair wage, we're going to shut down operations in all of California. I think it's just a threat tactic.
Part of Friday's car caravan included giving away masks and hand sanitizer to drivers. People in the caravan say Lyft and Uber don't give them these, even though they expect them to sanitize in between every ride. They say it's another example of how the companies put profit over people. At Lindbergh Airfield, Jared Aarons, ABC 10 News.
It's hard to believe, but we're just now 60 days away from the election. Early voting kicked off today in North Carolina. Eligible voters in that state are the first to get their absentee ballots in the mail. Meanwhile, Joe Biden went after Trump on jobs and the economy.
We're less than halfway back to where we were, with 11.5 million Americans not getting their jobs back.
That is many, many months ahead of schedule. They said you won't break 10%, at least until next year sometime.
The Labor Department is reporting the U.S. added 1.4 million jobs in August. The unemployment rate also dropped below 10% for the first time in months. As we get closer to Election Day, there are upcoming deadlines every voter should know about. If you're already registered, you can cast your ballot early at the Registrar of Voters office starting October 5th. The deadline to register to vote is October 19th, and your registration must be postmarked by that date. After that time, you can still vote conditionally. In-person voting begins October 31st at any of the county's 235 polling places. Election Day is November 3rd.